right, hello and welcome. You know, if the very thought of driving this winter sends a little shiver down your spine, well, you've come to the right place. We are diving into a fantastic guide from Free Car Mag, put together by motoring journalist Kieran Palmer. It's all about getting your car properly sorted for the tough months ahead. Trust me, this advice could save you a world of pain, so let's get right to it. And Kieran Palmer really hits the nail on the head there, doesn't he? We all know that feeling. The days are short, the nights are long, and honestly, the last thing any of us wants is to be stuck on the side of some cold, dark road. A bit of prep right now can make all the difference. So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at the challenge winter throws at us. Then we're going to pop the bonnet for an essential engine check. After that, it's all about visibility and grip, protecting your car's bodywork, putting together a roadside survival kit, and finally, we'll look at the most important bit, you, the driver. Right then, first up, the Winter Motoring Challenge. You know, the big takeaway from Kieran Palmer here is that we need to change our mindset. Winter driving isn't just something to grit your teeth and get through, it's a challenge that with the right prep, we can absolutely master. And just remember, all of this solid advice comes from our expert guide, Kieran Palmer, over at Free Car Mag. So let's get into his brilliant practical tips. Okay, on to our essential engine check. We're going straight to the heart of the car here, because a happy, healthy engine is your #1 defense against a breakdown in the cold. So let's pop the bonnet. First things first, the fluids. Now, we start with the basics, checking your oil level. But Kieran Palmer's guide really zeroes in on the winter specifics. You've got to test your coolant's antifreeze. Why? Because if that freezes solid, it can do catastrophic damage to your engine. And this is crucial. Switch to a proper winter screen wash. Your normal stuff will just turn into a sheet of ice right when you need to see. And finally, give those washer jets a quick squirt to make sure they're aimed correctly. Now, let's talk about the battery. This is a fantastic visual check that anyone can do. Just open the bonnet and have a look at the 2 terminals. If you see any of that white or greenish powdery stuff building up, that is a massive red flag. It's a sign your battery is already struggling, and it might just give up the ghost when the temperature really drops. For a proper test, though, a cheap little multimeter will give you the definitive answer. A good, healthy battery should read 12.6 volts or a touch more. But here's the number from the guide you need to remember. If you see anything below 12.2 volts, that battery is on its last legs. Don't risk it. Get it replaced before it leaves you stranded. And just to finish up under the bonnet, a few last checks from Kieran Palmer. Have a quick feel of the rubber hoses and belts for any cracks. The cold can make them really brittle. If you've got a modern diesel, make sure that AdBlue is top because the car simply won't start without it. And here's a brilliant tip. Try to keep your fuel tank at least half full. It helps prevent water condensation from forming inside, which can freeze up in your fuel lines. Okay, with the engine all sorted, let's move to the outside of the car. This part is all about visibility and grip. Basically, how you see the road and how other drivers see you. Both are absolutely critical when the weather turns nasty. With the nights drawing in so fast, your lights are your lifeline. As Kieran Palmer suggests in Free Car Mag, if you've got standard halogen bulbs, it's really worth considering an upgrade to high-performance ones, like Osram Night Breakers. They can make a phenomenal difference to how much you can see down a dark, wet road. And now for what is probably the single most important safety check of them all, your tires. Your 4 little contact patches with the road. You need to check the tread depth and the pressures, that's a given. But also run your hands over the sidewalls and look for any cracks or bulges. And please, for the love of all that is holy, check your spare. There is nothing worse than getting a flat, and finding your spare is flat too. Here are 3 little tips from the article that will save you from some massive winter frustration. First, check your wiper blades. If they're smeared, they're useless. Second, a quick spray of silicone along the rubber door seals stops them from freezing solid to the car. And finally, a little shot of WD-40 into the actual keyhole means you can still get in if your remote fob battery dies in the cold. So we've covered the functional bits. Let's talk about protection. This section is all about creating a winter shield for your car. The salt and grit they put on winter roads is absolute poison for your paintwork. So a bit of prep now really does pay off later. The idea here is to give your car a really good, deep clean and protective layer before the worst of the weather arrives. So rinse it thoroughly, especially under the wheel arches where all the muck collects. Give it a proper wash, dry it off, and then, and this is the most important bit, apply a good layer of wax. That wax creates a physical barrier, a shield that stops all that road grime from eating into your paint. And that shield has to include your windows. For the best possible visibility, you need to clean every bit of glass, inside and out. You know that greasy film that builds up on the inside of the windscreen? That's what makes it fog up so badly in the damp and cold. And while you're at it, give the inside a good vacuum and maybe pop in some heavy-duty rubber mats to save your carpets from mud and snow. Okay, time to switch gears a bit. In this section, we're moving from preventing a problem to being prepared for one. Because look, no matter how well you prepare your car, sometimes things just go wrong. This is all about what you should have in the boot just in case. I think this is really clever. Kieran Palmer's guide splits the kit into two parts. First, you've got the essentials for the car itself: scraper, de-icer, jump leads, maybe a small shovel. But just as important are the essentials for you: a torch, a power bank for your phone, a warm blanket, and some food and water. If you're stuck waiting for a recovery truck for a few hours, those things will feel like absolute luxuries. And here is the one piece of kit that you can't actually hold: your breakdown cover. Is it still active? Do you know what it actually covers? Find out now before you need it. And then save that emergency number into your phone's contacts so you're not scrambling for it in the dark. And that brings us to our final section. And you could argue it's the most important one of all. We've spent all this time getting the car ready, but now we need to prepare the most complex and important component in the whole system: the person holding the steering wheel. So let's just ask the question. You've done all the checks, you've packed the emergency kit, your car is as ready as it's ever going to be. But what about your driving skills? Are they sharp enough for black ice and slushy, unpredictable roads? For this, Kieran Parmar's article in Free Car Mag points us towards the real experts, the IAM, which stands for the Institute of Advanced Motorists. They're a charity here in the UK that is completely dedicated to improving driving standards and making our roads safer for everyone. And the article highlights two fantastic ways to really sharpen your skills. A skid pan course is, first of all, brilliant fun, but it's also the single best way to safely learn how a car feels and how to control it when it starts to lose grip. And for a really deep dive, an advanced driving course can totally transform your confidence and your ability not just in winter, but all year round. So, there we have it. The big takeaway from this brilliant guide in Free Car Mag is that preparation is everything. It's what takes that feeling of winter dread and turns it into real, genuine driving confidence. If you found this useful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And subscribe to Free Car Mag. It is completely free.